We have a local author, Josh Valdez, here to talk with us about his new novella.
You get everything that you get in a novella. You have amnesia, we have comas, we have murder, we have
Miss Tampa Pride 2023, Hazel Embers Genevieve.
I had like a complete meltdown. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna like go on stage and I'm gonna look like a fool. Like I'm gonna look stupid.
But based on secular ground, I'm like, that's like saying, is a graveyard a grave because it has a church next to it, or is it because it has a headstone?
It's kind of like, what are you gaining from being kind of on the wrong side of history? And
Telling me that I don't exist is not going to work for me. This is Common Courtesy, a conversation on modern society from an LGBTQ plus perspective. A talk show for working LGBTQ plus individuals and allies who are active in their own communities and who also wish to stay woke about what's happening in today's world. With your host, Sean Nicholas. I'm still sour for not winning this little acting award in high school. I'm still sour. Angelique Young.
I can't do the caged bird thing. It's not my thing. I'm literally, my symbol is a freaking half match.
And Ivan Alexander.
Oh, I need to change this. No, you can't change this. Okay? Before Gaga, I was born this way. Okay?
This is Common Courtesy.
That was doomed from the start.
Bulging and shit.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
God.
doomed from the start.
Around Sue's or whatever, and
No, that was me.
but that's our stereo.
So, let's start the conversation. Common Courtesy TV would like to thank our local sponsor, TampaBayGay.com, Tampa's award-winning LGBTQ plus entertainment and news website. Find out what's happening in our Bay Area community by visiting TampaBayGay.com. We'll be right back. Hey guys, and welcome back. This is Common Courtesy TV, a conversation on a modern society from an LGBTQ plus perspective. I'm your host and moderator, Sean Nicholas, and here with me is my amazing co-host. We have a nightclub entertainer and show director. We have Angelique Young.
Oh, what's up, everybody? So excited.
Hey.
It's a good show today.
Absolutely, absolutely. I cannot wait. We have a great show coming up for everyone because this week, this is our first week that we are now sponsored by TampaBayGay.com. So I am really excited about this. Also, as well, next week we will have David Borman. We have Dave Borman from TampaBayGay.com coming on. Also, as well, we'll have Blue Dream. And we're going to talk about Closet Ball coming up because, as we all know, right now it is pageant season. And speaking of pageant season, this week we have our special guest, one of our special guests, we have Miss Tampa Pride. We have Hazel Embers Genevieve coming up in our episode, in our second portion. So I'm very excited. But also as well, we have our first guest coming up, which honestly, I love supporting local talent and local work. And this is a good friend of ours. So let's get to him. So we have local, right? All right, I just hit something. We have a local author, Josh Valdez, here to talk with us about his new novella, Falling in Love in the Berg. The story is set locally in St. Petersburg, Florida, where we explore 6 lives that are intertwined and a story that is full of humor, drama, and romance. Please welcome to our panel for the first time, Falling in Love in the Berg author, Joshua Valdez. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us this week. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
And you know what? We both just got done reading your book, and your novella. And let me tell you, Novella is the name because I was just sucked in all the drama. But let's get into this interview. And Angelique, you have the first question.
Yay! I am so excited to have this interview with you. Like, talk about full circle moments. You are one of my favorite people. And I had no idea that you wrote this book, and I'm so excited. So I need you to do everyone a favor. For those of you who do know you or don't know you, just getting to know you and all that goodness, can you give us your backstory and how you got to this moment? And, how did you get to start as a writer?
So, for those who don't know me, my name is Joshua Valdez. I am the author of the book that we're talking about. And I am from the Bay Area. A lot of people know me from the hospitality industry. And when quarantine happened and the pandemic happened, I decided to pivot and kind of get back to my roots and for my love of storytelling. I've actually been writing since I've been 5 years old. My first book I made when I was 5. My parents have it in like a secret shelf somewhere, so hopefully it's worth something one day. And and I've been writing ghost writing. I've written a couple other works and nonfiction works, but this is my kind of baby where I was like, you know what, Joshua Valdez needs to do something that's entertaining, that could write something that's inclusive, and then I just went at it, and that's who Joshua Valdez is.
I love it.
Awesome. So I have the next question. So Joshua, who in your personal life do you draw the most inspiration from?
Oh my goodness. I have encountered so much people and I've had so many adventures over the years that I just get it from everyday life. I feel like my characters are kind of like a collage of some of the people that I meet. And sometimes the situations, are things that I've kind of experienced, maybe overheard. And I wonder, like, what would happen if we just kind of mix these two characters together? So I really pull from everyone, not just, I pull from acquaintances who've just kind of like stuck with me in my brain. They live there rent free, which is not good. Then friends, some lovers, but we don't talk about those.
Angelique, you have the next question?
Yeah, absolutely. So falling in love in the Berg isn't your first published work. And we want to know, can you tell us a little bit about You Didn't Hear This From Me?
So,
is that right? Did I say that right?
That is, it is. That You Didn't Hear This From Me is a sequel. It is a serial novella that you can check out on Amazon, and you can get the information from my website, joshuavaldezofficial.com, and it is the sequel to Falling in Love in the Berg. But this is my baby. This one you got to read first before you taste a little bit of You Didn't Hear This From Me, because if you like this, you'll like the second one.
Okay, all right. So I have the next question. So, Falling in Love in the Berg. Can you give us a brief synopsis without giving too much away? And also, are we in store for any surprises along the way?
You are in store for a lot of surprises. You both have read it, so you understand.
Have you read the book? I'm like,
yes. So the way this is a story about 6 lives that are intertwined in some way, and the way I wrote it is I wanted to write something that was inclusive, where the characters could be anybody that you could be any character. And as you both have read, you can see yourself as kind of a lot of the characters and picture everybody gets their own different experiences. Now, what I love about writing this, and it was such a great adventure for me, is you get everything that you get in a novella. You have amnesia, we have comas, we have murder, you have love stories, you have moments where you're just like, did that just happen? And and I wrote it and I'm still surprised at what happens in the story. So there's a little bit of everything, a lot of surprises in store for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, just to preface, this book kind of gives me like Bad Times at the Casino Royale. It's got a little bit of Identity. It's got a little bit of like all these movies or TV shows where all these characters like intersect, where the stories like cross, but not in any way, shape, or form that you can anticipate. So I really love that. That's like probably my favorite part about it. Like so many good shocks and surprises. You guys got to read this.
And just to piggyback off of what Angelique said, I was getting this like almost like Count of Monte Cristo like feeling, like all the story, like, yeah, right. And then just how Angelique said how everyone was like, connected. I was like, oh my God. And when he says there's going to be surprises in this book, I'm telling you, it's going to be surprises to the last page. You have got to go out and get this book. And that's a great segue to our next question. Josh, where can we get your new novella?
Well, if you see me walking down the street, stop me and just buy a copy off of me, because there's one in my back pocket. But you could go anywhere, you can go online, any web browser on your phone. You can get your friend's phone and buy it. You can go to Amazon.com. You can go to BarnesandNoble.com and purchase the book. And you can also you can find the links on my website, JoshuaValdezOfficial.com.
All right. You know what? Thank you, Joshua, so much for being here today and being our first guest this week. So we're going to be, thank you for being here. So we're going to move on because we're going to bring you back for a little hot topic that we have coming up later in the show. But before we go, I just want to let you guys know you can now catch our replays now available on TampaBayGay.com, your award-winning local source for LGBTQ plus news and entertainment website. Find out what's going on in your hood. All right. We'll be right back. Common Courtesy TV would like to thank our local sponsor, TampaBayGay.com, Tampa's award-winning LGBTQ plus entertainment and news website. Find out what's happening in our Bay Area community by visiting TampaBayGay.com. We'll be right back. Hey guys, and we are back from a little commercial break. And let's get into our next guest, because I am just getting to know her, and her success is a tribute to her hard work and her talent. And Tampa Pride has crowned her as their new queen. The Bay Area is going to be seeing a lot more of her. Now, please welcome to our panel, Miss Tampa Pride 2023, Hazel Embers Genevieve.
How are you?
I am well. I am well.
I'm good.
All right. So before we get into some hot topics, we got to get to know you. All right. I got the first question. All right. So Hazel, tell us and the audience, how did you begin your career as an entertainer?
So it started, I want to say like a little, maybe over 3 years ago, maybe 4 at this point. I just started coming out to the clubs performing because I don't know, it was an interest in mine, and
it was a calling.
Yes. Wait, can we cuss on here or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So period.
I actually did cuss a little.
Period. But yeah, it helped me like find out who I was. I was kind of like stuck. I was like still trying to figure who I was as a person. And when I started coming out, that's when I met Angelique. And it was around that time where she started her school of drag here again. And I ended up joining her and her students. And it was cute. She helped me, I would say, like a lot to help find who I was as a woman, as a trans person. So yeah.
Okay, I almost cried a little bit, Angelique. She's our angel. All right, so the next question is, so you're relatively new in the Bay Area before winning Miss Tampa Bay Pride. What do you think that it was that helped you with your success?
I want to say, okay, no, I'm not going to brag, but like, I feel like it's just because that I'm like, I feel like because I'm kind and I'm like, personable, and I'm like, I was always raised to be like the person to, like in any situation, in any like where I'm at, to always like be humble, to always like be respectful, to always if anybody needs help, go ahead and help them. And then just kind of like that. That's how my mom and my grandma raised me. And I feel like that kind of like like with like my talent, I guess, as well, like elevated who And I was kind of, because I was new to the scene, it also like helped me like boost my like, what is the word, like it helped boost like my
Like your presence, like
Relevancy,
your,
presence.
yeah,
yes,
made you stand out.
100%.
I would say, girl, it was the reason why when you came to the scene, I saw you and I was like, you have that like star quality. But I think I agree with you on that one. Like your humbleness is something that's uncharacteristic of Tampa people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people who come on stage or they come out and they are seen braggadocious, but you yourself, you were very humble in your beginnings. And so that was something that leaned me to you. Mm-hmm. So I get that 1000% what you mean.
Period.
Yeah, so all that fun stuff being said, you know, I want to know first and foremost, what does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion is just like being, like I said, being kind to everyone, making sure everybody is like well, everybody, no matter like their race, their gender identity, what they identify as, whether if it's like sexual orientation, whatever, gender identity, like I said, just not being, you know, how do you say it?
Discriminatory. Discriminatory, yeah.
And not being prejudiced towards anyone. Just like, cause like why the fuck is there like any need for that? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah.
No, that's good. No, and so the follow-up is you had a very big moment as the winner of Miss Tampa Pride. And so given this moment, given that you came into the scene, that you were technically considered a newer person, you know, what was that moment like for you when you heard your name as Miss Tampa Pride?
So throughout like the whole pageant, I was like very like much doubting myself. I was like, ew, like I could have done this better. Like why did I do this? Like, why did my hand do this? Like for talent, I feel like I could have did this instead of this. So I really was not expecting to win, but I knew at least I was gonna place. So when they called out second runner-up, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get first runner-up, whatever, that's fine. And then when they announced first runner-up, I'm like, oh shit, I could probably win. And then me, yes. And then when Jade announced my name, it was just like, because before the pageant, I had like a complete meltdown. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna like go on stage and I'm gonna look like a fool. Like I'm gonna look stupid. I look like shit. Like it was just very like very that. And so when Jade called my name, it was just very like, oh my god, like. It wasn't so much for me, but it was like I'm making like my mom proud because she was in the audience. I'm making Angelique proud because she's the one who helped me since the beginning. I made Jade proud, my mom, my drag mom. It's just like making all these people proud just made me like feel like very emotional, and it was just like I will say it was like a little dramatic, me falling to the floor, but
yeah.
But that's how I felt in the moment, and then it was cute. It was a cute moment.
You know, you said you made all these people proud. Not only that, you made yourself proud because that is a big accomplishment,
yes.
You know, winning Miss Tampa Pride. And because when I saw that photo, I was like, we got to have her on the show. You know, I want to know what that moment feel like.
Yeah.
All right, just next question we're going to get to real fast. So now that you have this platform of Miss Tampa Pride, what would you like to do with it during your reign?
I want to like spread more awareness, I guess, I feel like the LGBT community like kind of like leaves out the T in the community. I feel like most often, especially people of color, trans people of color. We just need to bring awareness to them and like help them out, you know, stuff like that. So, period.
Okay, Angela. Period.
Yes.
I love it. I think, and just to kind of hit on something before I key this into my last question is just I want to let everybody know that pageantry is fucking hard.
Ooh.
Like I've been in the business for 15 years and pageantry is very, very hard. And I don't think people understand the amount of pressure we put on ourselves to fit our entire personality into sometimes 3 or 4 categories. And the execution of that, there's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves, let alone from the judges and the crowd and everything else. So kudos to you for making it through that. Kudos to you on your win. And I guess the biggest question on everybody's mind is, what's next for you? Where are we going to see Hazel next? Where will we be able to see like foreign pageants, movies, television, novellas? What's next, girl? Tell us.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully, somebody like sees me and they're like, "Oh, we want you on the next MCU movie." I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." But as for the next pageant, my ultimate goal is to do Continental. That's just what I've always wanted to do. But as of right now, I feel like the glamorous system is like really cute, and that's what I have my eye on right now. So yeah.
And also, I see you're also, and Angelique as well, is performing at Pride on the River.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's at Armature Works, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yes.
is it they're part of it?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are doing that coming up, and there's a whole bunch of mess events that I saw your name on, Hazel. And I just wanted to give you another congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. And just for that, we're going to get out of here. So catch our replays now available on TampaBayGay.com, your award-winning local source for LGBTQ plus news and entertainment website. You'll also find where, to get your tickets for Pride on the River. Find out what's going on in your neighborhood. We'll be right back. Follow our podcast page, Comic Jersey TV, here on Facebook and YouTube for more conversations on love, sex, relationships, and commentary on the latest trending news. And listen to us on multiple podcast platforms via comicjerseytv.buzzsprout.com. Hey, folks, and we are back. We are back with both of our guests. We have author of Falling in Love in the Berg. We have Joshua Valdez. Also, we have our other guests. We have Miss Tampa Pride 2023. We have Hazel Embers Genevieve, and they are going to be joining us on our Hot Topic of the Week. All right, let's get to it. For the moment, the Supreme Court decided to decline Yeshiva University's appeal to block a state court order that says that the university must officially recognize its LGBTQ plus undergraduate student organization, Pride Alliance. The court order comes from a lawsuit after students sued the university claiming discrimination, as they should. A New York State judge ruled in the students' favor, saying Yeshiva is not a religious institution and they violated the city's human rights laws. The university, which is seen as the flagship institution of America's modern Orthodox Jewish community, saying for it to do so, to recognize this organization would violate its religious freedom. In reaction, the university shut down all other clubs. Now, I just want to ask you guys, how are you reacting to this news? And is this an argument even about religious freedom anymore? And the first person I'm going to go to is our veteran. I'm going to go to Angelique. How do you feel?
Oh, this is such a slippery slope. And you guys know I love to play the devil's advocate in most cases. Like, on one hand, I feel like, yes, all school, groups and clubs should have the ability to operate within their own, within their own rights and have the ability to do everything by the book, no one gets any special attention or any less attention, right? But in the same hand, it's kind of a slippery slope when you're at a religious school or a school that bases, and I don't care how you want to shell it. If the school has a Jewish name or a Catholic name or anything that can be resignated back to a specific sect of people who practice something in particular, I don't care if it's witchcraft, Satanism, whatever the case may be, it still is the basis of that facility. And they have the right to deny you. It's the same thing with any Catholic or Christian school. So in this case, because it's technically not secular, but based on secular ground, I'm like, that's like saying, is a graveyard a grave because it has a church next to it, or is it because it has a headstone? Like, what makes a graveyard a graveyard? And do you still follow the rules of the graveyard simply because it doesn't fit your particular means? If you take that into that kind of context, what they're asking for, they won the small battle, but the real question is, will they win the war? That is yet to be seen.
This is a very interesting topic because I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I went down the rabbit hole with my research. And what's really interesting about this is this university has actually had this issue since about 2010. When they
Mm-hmm.
first had their first LGBT rally at their school, that sold out, and they couldn't allow any more people in the building because it was reached at max capacity. And then the leadership of the school, the directors, decided to go ahead and put out a kind of Torah doctrine paper out that pretty much outlined the Torah's view on homosexuality. And the Torah is very explicit. It's something that has not changed. But what's really interesting about this is they're saying that our beliefs is what we don't want to compromise our beliefs. But, if the Torah says a lot of things, are we going to start putting people to death because they violated a, carnal sin? You can't pick and choose what you want to represent your religion when your religion has all those other things. Another interesting thing about this was that this kind of mirrors something that happened in Jackson, Mississippi around 1963. When the courts wanted to desegregate the pools, Jackson, Mississippi decided to close their public pools. And it happened for a very long time. They were like, you know what? No one's going to swim. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, what are you gaining from being kind of on the wrong side of history? And, so this is a very weird thing, like situation. And the most concerning part of it is when you read the dissent from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court also outlined a way where the school can come back from the lower courts, and the Supreme Court in the dissent, it said, hey, if you had followed the proper protocol instead of overstepping the lower courts, then you would
Mm-hmm.
have won your case. It's in the dissent. It's written right there. So when the
And I'm not
school
gonna.
comes back from the lower, sorry.
You're good. I think they got it. When they come back from the lower court, they can come back to the Supreme Court and fight it. I just want to go to
But
Hazel really fast before we run out of time.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna like pretend like I know like all these like big words like the Supreme Court or I choose not to like get into like religion or like whatever, but just like in my mind I'm just like it's a club, like they're not doing anything wrong. They're like kids going to school. It's just a club, like um just let them be, that's it. But I also get because it's like like religious or whatever, like it doesn't go like with their biblical or whatever or stuff that they don't want it to
Right.
be that. I don't know. Shit.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right because they based that at like a lot of their forming of their undergraduate is based on a lot of religious things. But the one thing that Angelique had pointed out earlier that they are not recognized as a religious institution as education. They are a private school, but they are also a secular school, so they're probably getting like federal funding. And it wasn't a problem back then when they getting this money from these people, but then they don't want to recognize people in their own community in their own school. I think it's a huge problem. Whatever they decide, because like I said, we have the Don't Say Gay bill. We see how that is like, taking presence in our classrooms. And like I say, from classrooms, it can go from classroom to streets. And it already has, because I've been behind the bar and some straight lady asked me about it. And we almost got into it over it, like, actual ethics and things like that. But I think also as well, what was interesting that the graduate school does have and recognize an LGBTQ plus club in their graduate school. So it's like what Josh said as well, you're picking and choosing almost what you're doing. And for them to say that, when they say this is a religious, for, I'm going to go here for a Jewish community to like say that this is like against something, this is almost persecution. You're persecuting these people in your own community. They exist, and I'm not saying. I watched the interview with the guy that's a part of the school, I believe. He was saying that this is a woke culture. No, this is actual real life and reality. And I don't think we should stop ignoring that, because we exist. Telling me that I don't exist is not going to work for me anymore. And before we run out of time, we got some time. Before we run out of time, anyone else want to say anything?
Just wanted to piggyback off of it and just say that the whole reason why this has actually become a problem was because when it was just a little group and it was just a couple people, they didn't mind it. it wasn't an issue. But it wasn't until they sold out the stadium that it became an issue. And the reason why is because it made noise, it made waves. And with schools like this in a private sector, they have donators. They have people who are giving to the school because it follows their belief and values. So when you have an event that takes over, that brings noise and it goes against what these people are promising to give money towards, they have to lower the volume and the noise. Now, back in the day, this would have worked. This would have worked wonderfully. It would have quieted down. They would have had to go underground. The party wouldn't have been allowed to use the major gyms, sell out. You know, when it's making them money, they don't care. But when it's losing them more money than they're making, of course they care. So I think it's a big point that was noted, that was when the first big, like, you know, I don't want to call it biblical, but that's when the first big religious thing was like, oh, hey, by the way, like, we are still a school that follows religious value. Regardless of what you think or what you know, like, we support you, but religion comes first here. You know, like, just so you know, like, you're loved, but you ain't that loved. Like, it was very that is what it felt like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And Joshua, really fast.
You know, what's really important, and one of the bases of the Torah is when it comes to saving a life, that trumps religion. It's one of the core beliefs, and suicide prevention is saving a life. And sometimes these clubs are what keep people safe, letting them know that they're loved, letting them know that they have a safe space. And it could be at one room, but giving someone a room and putting a little sticker on it that with tape, and you pull it off at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a thing. But having safe spaces and letting people know, hey, it's okay and you're safe. That's important. And we know the numbers on suicides for transgender, gay youth. You know, it's incredible. So you know, we need safe spaces. Everyone needs a safe space. They have a whole university. What's a room?
And Hazel, do you want to add anything before we go?
Period.
Period. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this episode. And coming up soon, we will have more. We'll come out St. Pete. I have an event coming up with them. And like I said, next week, we will have a Blue Dream next week to talk about Closet Ball, and also Dave Borman of TampaBayGay.com. And we will be joining us next week as well for an interview. He's going to join us for Hot Topics. I also wanted to thank our guest today, author Joshua Valdez. Thank you so much for sharing your book with us. It was amazing. And also as well, I want to thank our other guests, Miss Tampa Pride, Hazel Genevieve. Thank you so much for being here. Also,
thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. And also as well, like I said, please check out that webpage, TampaBayGay.com, just to see what's going on in your local Bay Area LGBT plus community. All right. And like I always like to say, until next time, try to have a little bit more common courtesy. Thank you. Common Courtesy TV would like to thank our local sponsor, TampaBayGay.com, Tampa's award-winning LGBTQ plus entertainment and news website. Find out what's happening in our Bay Area community by visiting TampaBayGay.com. Follow our podcast page, Common Courtesy TV, here on Facebook and YouTube for more conversations on love, sex, relationships, and commentary on the latest trending news. And listen to us on multiple podcast platforms via commoncourtesytv.buzzsprout.com.